Welcome back. And in this one, we need to talk about watchers. Now, a watcher, the main definition is that it will watch over a ref or a reactive property, and it will react if something happens to that ref or reactive property. All right, so let's create an example. Let's say that we have maybe a simple counter. We're going to do something simple. I'm going to say const and then count, and this one, it's equals to ref open and close. And, this one will be just a value of 0 for now. And I guess I'm going to be returning open and close and that count. Cool. So now we can use it right here. So the div is going to say that we have a count of open and close, and we are just going to output the count. And at the bottom, let's say that now we are going to be using a button, and I'm going to be calling other action, just something like that. And this one is going to be a V, is going to be on, and instead of creating a function, I'm going to just do it right here. I'm going to say that when we click, just like that, it's going to be equals to, and I'm going to go to count, and I'm going to do plus plus. So we are just incrementing the value of count. Simple as that. So for now, I'm going to import a watch. I'm going to import a watch. There we go. I'm going to go to our application from the previous one, and if I click the other action, we are just, we can't do this. It's very simple. So now I want to watch this count property, this ref, and I want to react whenever a change happens. So for this, we use a watcher. It's going to be watch, and then we have two arguments pretty much. First is the what we are watching. It makes sense. We are watching count. Then what we will do when that change happens, when something happens to count, we run a callback function. And then inside the callback function, we can do whatever we want. We can see console log, console, and then log. And this one is going to be, do something. There we go. So do something. All right. So if we run this, every time I change the count, it's going to do something. Cool. So this is why, why we have a watcher. Now we have more properties inside of a watcher. The callback function gives you access to the new value and the old value. So maybe here I can say new and then count and then comma and then say old and then count. There we go, old count. And now instead of doing do something, I'm going to say maybe the new, made a mistake, new and then count. Actually, I'm going to say new is. And then here, I'm going to do $ open and open. And then I'm going to output the new count. And then I'm going to say comma, but old is, and I'm going to output the previous value. So old and then count. All right, so now let's see what happens if I reload the application and I just call it. We can see that the new, it's 1, and the new is 1 indeed. And then we have the old, it's 0. And if I keep doing the same, it's just going to let us know the new and the old value. So in conclusion, again, the watcher will watch over something and it will react to it, and we have access to know a little bit more, about that property. Now, what happens if we have something a little bit more complex within ref? Right now, we should just have a very simple value, but maybe we change it to an object, let's say. This is going to change a little bit. I'm going to go here and I'm going to open and close. And now we have a number of 0 and then comma, and I'm going to add, whatever other value, it doesn't matter, other, and I'm going to say other prop. There we go, other, and then prop. So we just have an object now. We don't have a simple value. Now, if we change this, we need to change how this works right here, because now we have count and we have number, just like that, count and number. And now inside count, we need to do count number plus plus. If I go right here to the application, just to make sure that the count works, if we click it, it works. But notice that, the watcher is not really working. It's because, we changed this logic. Now, the ref, now it's not a value, it's a complex object. So now we need to do count, and then we need to do dot, and then value. And if it wants to output the new count, well, I'm going to need to go to new count, and I want to know the number and the old count and then number. All right, so let's give it a go. I'm going to reload the application. And now if I do other action, it's working. But notice that this one, it's a little bit funky. It says new is 1, but old is 1. What? No. New is 2, but old is 2. So this is not really working, the new value and the new count and old count. And it's because of how we access the ref. So if you want to access the ref to get the new and the old, we need to use a getter. And a getter is just a function that gets that value. So we use a getter, and then we get the count value. And now we need to be specific. We need to say number. And now we don't need to use number right here. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to go right here and just remove it. We use the getter now to get the ref, and we just get the number, and we get the new count and old count. Let's see if this works. If I reload the application, I'm going to run it, and new is 1, but old is 0. So that works. And 2, old is 1, so this works. Now, sometimes working with objects just like this, it's not so good with refs. So maybe you can use reactive. It's going to be a little bit less verbose. So I'm going to bring the reactive, and we're just going to try it with the reactive property. So it's going to be reactive. At the top, nothing changes. Everything still remains the same. But then at the bottom, we just don't need to use value, right? We just don't need to. So I'm going to just save it. And I'm going to go at the top and reload the application. And new is 1, but old is 0, 2, and 1, 3, and 2. So this works. And we usually use refs most of the time. So we have something, a little bit more complex. If you want to do less work, we use the reactive. Okay, so what else can we do? What if you want to listen to multiple properties? Right now on this watcher, we are listening or just watching the counter. But maybe I want to watch the change on this and the change on this. So, on this occasion, I'm going to need to use an array, and you can do something like this. You can do an array instead of just, plain count number, and then do count number, and I want to get the comma, and I want to get the count dot, and I guess the property calls other. So, count other. And it will be listening for both. Now, the thing is that now this console log doesn't work. I'm going to need to create a new one. And I'm going to do console and then log, open and close. And I need to console the new count. And then I'm going to say new because the values are going to come on an array fashion. So I'm going to go here, console log, and I'm going to console log the old count now. And I'm going to say this one is the old. And you're going to see it in a minute. I'm going to reload it. I'm going to do other action. And now notice that we get an array. This one is the, the first one, the number, and this one is the other counter, and new, and then we get old. So if you're asking yourself, when would I use something like this? Well, it depends on your application. Maybe you want to run a function, right, like a network request or something like that, and you want to know when something changed some property, and then run some other code when something changes. Well, in this case, you can use a watcher.